Good afternoon again. This is Dr. Bill White with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the things you can do with a little flexible arch wire. Now, we used to use a little woven wire that had about 3 tiny wires twisted in it, and the whole thing wasn't much bigger than a 17 round wire, just a small round wire. Anyway, let me show you what things you can do. There's about 10 or 12 things, if I can remember off the top of my head what we'll do. I'm going to show you part of them, and I'm just going to use a typodont here that has a flexible arch wire on it, and I'll show you as we go through here. Now, these teeth can be where this one of them can be poking out here, this one can be poking out on this side, out here, and as you put this wire in there, it'll go in and out, and it will straighten these teeth up in a straight line as you come around. So this little flexible wire, it'll do all the teeth and going in and out like this. It doesn't matter. You can bend it in and come out and different, and it'll line these teeth up as you go around in the circle. So that's one thing that you can do with them. Now I'm going to look at them, and I'll come back to this picture again. But if you have one of the teeth will be hanging down lower here, maybe this one was up high, and this little wire can go around and pick the teeth up and line them up in that manner too, coming in. So it'll do the in and out and the up and down of the teeth. Now also, this wire can tip teeth. In other words, if this tooth is angled off up something like that, and you can come in and your wire coming in right like this, and your bracket slot would be like that, you raise it up and go through it like this, and then it will tend to bring that root of that tooth back in a line like that. So it can tip them, and it can tip them like if they were going this way, it could tip them back and carry them back, depending on how you place this bracket in this wire right here. Now, that's about 3 of them. You can take and put this little flexible wire in, and you can have a gap in here and over here, or anywhere you want to in the arch, and you can push this little omega out like that, and you can come in and tie it back. I've got one example of that here. I'll show you. Like you can take a director, which is nothing but a round deal, coming like that, but it's got a V in the end of it. Put it over here and push on the wire, and it tightens this part up. But first, you want to tie one of them passive, and you want to mark the center of the arch wire. So this little wire keeps the thing centered as your arch has a normal effect on here. Excuse me. I've got an allergy here today, and I'm having to wipe my nose while I'm doing the video. Let me go back on these deals now. Like, always mark the center of the wire some way or another, even if you have to make a little bend in it or something like that. And as you tighten the wire back here or do something, make sure this stays in the center, because you've got a nice curvature to your arch, and you want to keep it like that. If you slide that off to the side, then this curvature changes. That's not a very good example there, but you can see it changes the curvature. Like it'd be here and you'd have it off center, so you keep it on the center. Well, this little wire, you put the omegas and you keep that, and you make sure it keeps that, so it does that also. Now, as you take a case and it's got a deep bite in it, then you can actually, let me go over here, and we put this wire in addition to other wires. Now this is a intruding arch wire here. This is a really deep bite case. Like these front teeth here would come down somewhere like this, and you couldn't even see this guy's lower teeth when we started. Now, to be able to do that, we had to put a bite plate on the back side of these upper front teeth, and he could only touch on those. Now with this, now the intruding wire is a heavy arch wire, and you can put it on day one, but you put your little flexible wire, see it's underneath there, and it rotates the teeth, brings them in and out and up and down individual teeth. And as you attach this intruding wire to the front teeth, you just attach it on about 3 places, maybe 4 in there, and it starts picking these teeth up as they elevate like that. Now the little wire carries the other teeth along with it. You see, as you go up with these teeth, these rest of these teeth will go up, but we work from here, and this wire goes way up like this and back down, and we come down and we start picking these teeth up right in here, and we're going to level this arch out. This is a video on deep bite cases. This is one of the deepest bites I think I've ever done, and I've got a whole video on that if you want to look at that more. Now that the upper will level out, and the lower will be doing the same thing, and while we're lowering this down, these teeth are rotating in the arch. In other words, it's making room. As the arch goes down like this, it spreads out and it makes room. As it gets spread out to what you want, you come back here and tie the small wire back. And I'll go back here and show you. Well, we come in there and tie it. You tie it passively on one side, and then go around and make sure the center stays there, and then you tighten the other side real tight, so these teeth can't separate as you raise them up. And if you've got the whole, it keeps the arch in a unit, and as you lift these teeth up, like these teeth are sticking like this, they're going to raise up, and if you don't have something in here, they'll flare out this way. So the little wire goes around and ties the front teeth to the back teeth, and then we may have this tooth banded too, or have a bracket on it and hold it in place, and that keeps the unit together as it picks these up. So that's another thing that it does. Like now there's another, like you can close space with this small wire. You can just passively tie one part down and go around and tighten the heck out of the other wire, and the small flexible wire flattens out in between the teeth. You don't even see it, but it works like a spring in here. Let me kind of illustrate again. Let me get back to one of these. Now, if I tighten this wire, and if you look at this careful, there's a curvature in the wires. It goes through these brackets. This makes a curvature here and a curve here, all between every tooth in there. There's a slight curvature. But you tighten this wire, put this one passive and tie it down, and then get over here and tighten this one really tight, and this wire will become straight in between each one of those teeth. It'll straighten it out in there. And if you've got a space or a gap in the wire anywhere, you made a spring out of this whole thing. See, as you tighten it, this straightens out, and in between appointments, this wire curves back again, and keeps pulling on that and closes that space from one molar to the other. It doesn't matter if the wire's not sliding in the bracket. It still works. It still closes the space. So that's several things I don't know that have gone on here. That the use of this little flexible wire. Now it doesn't have to be this woven wire. You can take an 016 tie wire, but it's kind of hard to bend it like that. You've got to bend this thing way around this way before it'll stay bent. And you can make them. You can put an omega in the 016 tie wire is really better in some respects, but it is much harder to bend and get the bend to stay in there, and you have to really bend them a lot to get it, but you can do it. You can make them stay. You put that in there, and you can open a space. You can close space anywhere in the arch you want to, or you just close the whole thing. Or if you want to open a space in between these two teeth right here, you can thread a open coil spring on there that's probably extends way down here and up here, and now you squeeze it together and put it between the teeth, and you can open a space in any arch, anytime, anywhere you want to with this little flexible wire. And during the same time you're doing that, you can be opening the bite. Now let me go over and show you these bite opening cases. While we can put this on when we've got the little bitty wire in there doing all these other things. We can be expanding, we can be contracting, we can be rotating all these teeth in the arch, and you just, if you want more space, let this go down and they will space out, and when you get enough space, you come back in here and tie the little bitty wire back. The intruding wire, the heavy wire that's opening it this way, that you don't even have to tie back, but it'll move forward. If you don't tie the teeth back, it'll make space between the teeth as they come up. So you tie the little one where you want the arch to be. You see, there's just more than people think about that little wire doing as you put it in there. It has about 10 or 12. I sat down a while ago and wrote down about 12 things that little wire does right here, and I probably can't remember exactly every one. Now here's another one. See, this fella was missing a molar tooth back here. If you want to, you can put a little tube on that small wire, or if it's pretty good, you can make a step down in it and come up over here, and it'll tend to hold that space as you intrude these teeth up here. And the beauty of this is you can level a bite like this with those two wires while somebody else is trying to line the teeth up so they can get a big enough wire in there to intrude the teeth. Now these little old wires that circle like you come in like this, with those intrude the back teeth at the same time intrude the anterior teeth, and they're not near as efficient as putting this intruding wire on there. And it goes in, and now it has a special deal on the back. Let me kind of draw that if I could here with you. We just put now your intruding wire comes out like this, and then you drop down and you go around like that, and now you come up and come over to the other side. It's going to be hard for me to do that, and drop down, roll it, and come back this way. Now as you pull this down, as you pull this down, now I've drawn that the wrong way. You got to come out this way, come up and roll it this way, and now come up and over. And when we pull this down, that tightens this up right here. This is for the bottom part. If you went down here and raised it up, this would be on the bottom arch. This is the top arch right here. And those two wires will intrude the anterior teeth faster and better than anything I know of will do it. So you can start off with any kind of bracket you want to in there, and you can put this material in there. This intruding wire goes way up like that, you see, and you pull it down, tie it 2 or 3 places. This one right here would be down in here somewhere, and you raise it up and hook it. You tie it to 2 or 3, and the little bitty wire in there keeps the teeth in a unit. It doesn't let them separate. You tie, you get the space you want, line the teeth up, and then tie that little wire back, and it holds your arch length while you're opening the bite. And you can have a case leveled out and all the rotations done in it, and probably save you a couple of months time in doing the orthodontic case if you go through with this and learn how to do that, to put the little wire, and it does all these things while you've got this big wire that's intruding this. And if you got a space in there, you hold that space open. You can put a tube on it, or you can drop it down if it's flexible enough and strong enough to it'll hold the space while you leave it open there. So you're going to have to put an implant or something else in there like that. So this is a useful thing to learn how to do. And so I'm going to pass it out there, and you can open anybody's bite. I don't care who they are, and they can be, I think I could have my bite open at 90-something, and your teeth just last a long time. I wished I could live as long as my teeth would last. So you can move people's teeth even if they're 90. I've had cases that went into the 90s, but I never started anybody. And we used to run around and say, well, you get in your 20s, you can't straighten your teeth. How stupid and how ridiculous that was. And you can do these things. People just did not find out. Maybe it wasn't stupid. They just were told you couldn't do that. But you can move people's teeth as long as they're living and they've got any kind of bone in there. All right, I'm going to hang it up, and hope you got something out of this video. But there's a lot in there that is usable, and it'll cut maybe 2 or 3 months off your treatment time. You can have somebody's deep bite with crooked teeth and all this other. You can have them basically straightened out line in there, and you may have to do a little class 3 or midline or a correction like that, but you have the thing darn near straightened up in that shorter length of time. So I'm going to close out and say thank you for watching, and I want you to join our website and everything, and subscribe to our program. Thank you very much now.